Cowboy fans and YouTubers? It's that VA Dallas Cowboy fan coming back at you. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, and commenting down below. I make these videos for me and you, and they're a little therapeutic. As we've seen, Dez Bryant is now going through his COVID-19 testing in his lead up to a tryout with the Baltimore Ravens. As you know, a couple years ago after we had cut him, Baltimore Ravens were about one of the only teams to offer him a contract, and he decided to turn it down at the time. A lot of people just said he was stupid for doing that, but as he has told us since then, he was in a bad place mentally to where they wouldn't have gotten the best out of him if he had signed. And no apologies. I mean, you're a grown-ass man. You don't have to pick up a contract just because the media and us crazy fans tell you got to do it. It's not on us. It's on you and your mental health and whatever you got to do, man. Because if we had our way, we crazy fans would have freaking nobody playing for the Dallas Cowboys but themselves, thinking it's Madden or something, because they don't know how to run the team and they think everybody's a scrub unless they're going Pro Bowl type numbers every freaking year. But at that, you had Drew Pearson recently being named one of two finalists, along with Raiders coach Tom Flores, as the two senior nominee finalists for the Hall of Fame class of 2021. Now, it's funny that he had to go in as a senior member because he had aged out of the modern era athletes when there were a lot of undeserving people going into the Hall of Fame over him. And that's some bull. But thankfully, they're going to correct this with the senior committee, as he's almost a assured lock now for the Hall of Fame. And before this, there was always going to be somebody with better statistics in a whole different generation to beat him out for the Hall of Fame as a modern era finalist, and it made no sense. He did what he did. He has accolades just as important as some of these modern guys, and yet he never got any love, and that's stupid. But now he's finally going to get in, more than likely in 2021. And that's great news for him. I'm happy to hear it, because he's been snubbed way too many times. Let's see. What else do we have? We have DeMarcus Lawrence getting high praise from Mike McCarthy. He's hoping that he's going to have a breakout season in the mold of Julius Peppers back in the day, and that because we're going to multiple fronts, DeMarcus Lawrence is going to get to use all his pass rushing skills as a hands-down defensive end, and also a stand-up outside linebacker type hybrid. So he's going to hope that, you know, he's got the potential, he's got the moves to play multiple fronts, and he's going to have that kind of giant leap in his, not only statistically, but personally and everything, and it's just going to make him a better person and player all around. McCarthy has very high hopes for DeMarcus Lawrence coming into this year. Let's see. We have former Packers quarterback Seneca Wallace, formerly with Mike McCarthy. He is now in the quarterback's room along with Kellen Moore, Mike McCarthy, Doug Nussmeier, and Scott Townsend, and they're all working with the quarterbacks. Seneca is only on for training camp, getting them ready for the 2020 season. I don't know if he's going to be retained after that. I don't think he is, because they've already got official quarterbacks, coaches, and assistants. So he's just there to help them out through training camp. And you can kind of already see some improvements, which I hope will translate to the field during season, but we'll have to see. Let's see. McCoy had his surgery on his right quad today. He tweeted out after, or shortly before going into surgery, that he's just wanted to say that he's still smiling to his teammates and coaches they're going to go get it, and they're going to go win a championship. And to all of us fans, stay tuned. He's in very high spirits. He has said that just because he can't physically play, that he will be on the sidelines during games and everything, and helping out the younger guys, mentoring them through the season. So that's always great to hear. Much like when Sean Lee was hurt and lost for the season, he stayed on and was at the games, and he mentored Van Der Esch and Smith through their first year together while he was on the sidelines, and that's what prompted everybody saying he should be a linebacker coach when he retires, because he obviously has the skill for it. Let's see. Our offensive line has been a little bit in flux, not knowing where everybody's going to be yet. Lael Collins is still hurt. He hasn't been, going full speed or anything with anybody. He's been on resistance cords. Cam Irving, apparently he went from having an illness to now being injured. At least that's the different conflicting reports I've seen. Mike McCarthy said he's making progress. It's an injury, not of a serious nature, and they haven't given him an exact date on when he'll return. So with that, you've had behind him, you had Brandon Knight, who just returned to practice today. He's been running with the left tackles and right tackles, getting down both positions. And behind him, you had Wyatt Miller, who's actually been playing on some first-team reps because everybody else has been hurt. And he's gotten to go against DeMarcus Lawrence. And, going against the top player opposite you is definitely going to help you for the better. So that's great to hear that all these guys are getting the battle. All these guys are getting some kind of practice and training in, since this offseason we don't have actual games. So they're still getting some kind of real reps against somebody. Let's see. And also, because of the injuries and everything, they'll be working out 3 free agent linemen after today's practice. I haven't heard anything about how that has been since practice has been over, but that's the word coming out right now, or at the time. I haven't heard if they will sign anybody. There hasn't been any names leaked or anything like that. Let's see. I got a whole bunch of stuff listed down here. With McCoy out, apparently Tristan Hill and Neville Gallimore have gotten to start in place of him. It looks like they're giving Tristan Hill more of the first team reps right now because Gallimore is 1 year behind Tristan Hill, and his teammates and coaches have praised his offseason work. He's asking questions. He's excuse me. He's getting more reps. He's getting more. He's getting better at being the player that we thought he could have been in Marinelli's defense, but he seemed, basically, this is the thing. As we know, Jason Garrett had a certain way about him. He was conservative, and that conservativeness kind of spread like a virus throughout his players. A lot of times you saw the same lackadaisicalness from the coaching staff to the players, and that made them seem like they were not hungry, they were not aggressive, they just seemed like they came in, did the motions, and left. They didn't care. But now that you got a new coaching staff and you got a whole new fire, you got people you got to actually impress now and actually get your work in, it's starting to rub off on the players. And you're starting to see the difference. We're starting to see defenses doing a whole lot more in practice. Hopefully that translates over to the game time. And you're just seeing a whole different attitude for the team than you've seen with the previous regime, because they all seem to take over the coach's mentality, We've seen it in other teams. When you have coaches that don't seem to have it, the team doesn't seem to have it. When you have somebody like Belichick running your team, you have players that act like Belichick. They're strong-willed, strong-minded, very straight to the point and focused. And that's what wins championships. So you see the players taking on the personas of a lot of their coaches. And we're starting to see that in practice with these Cowboys and the new coaching regime. So, again, I'm excited for it. I'm happy to see the change in attitude. It's definitely something we've been looking forward to for a long time, since we knew Jason Garrett wasn't going to bring it. And now we're starting to really see it. Let's see. Everson Griffin was seen today. He was out in practice in full pads. He did a couple walkthroughs, but there's been conflicting reports if he's doing individual drills or not. But they say he didn't do any team drills or anything like that. If he's doing individual drills already, that's great. If not, they said that tomorrow's an off day, and then the day after that will be him picking up, ramping up his practice, and we'll see how that goes. Undrafted free agent linebacker Francis Bernard, he's starting to make waves as this year's Luke Gifford. He's picked off pass in the last 2 practices, so that's starting to make the coaches take notice of him. And like last year, Luke Gifford did the same thing in preseason, and he looked good until he got injured. And they're starting to see parallels between those two. And they're both on the team. They both can be depth purposes, and they're starting to be, putting a lot of tape on themselves and making themselves look good for this coaching staff. Xavier Woods got an interception of Dak Prescott today at the end of team drills. Apparently, the play was unfolding. They said if it was a live game, DeMarcus Lawrence would have sacked Dak, but because he scrambled and stuff and you can't touch the quarterback, he scrambled away and got a pass off. Unfortunately, it was picked off by Xavier Woods in the end zone. So, that looks great, but okay, the defense is looking pretty good these past couple practices. Looks like they're making the offense look bad, but it's practice. They're trying out different things, and they're trying the different looks of the defense to go against what they can bring on offense. And I'm glad to say that everybody's switching it up, defense and offense. So you never really know what's coming, and the reporters and the media guys can't really talk about what they see at these practices because of the restrictions put in place, which is kind of weird because somebody said that they are streaming the Baltimore Ravens practices, and that's supposed to be illegal. You're not supposed to be able to stream anything or have any kind of media presence at practices, but you're streaming it live. But you're telling the Cowboys media people that they can't report on anything until after practice, and by then Ian Rappaport or somebody's already breaking the news before they're getting to. So I don't know what's going on with that. Let's see. DeMarcus Lawrence and Alden Smith are looking to kick into a nice little friendship. They've been seen in between practice periods hanging out with each other. They're talking and working on techniques together. So with Alden Smith's take on techniques that netted him some pretty good accolades back in the day to where DeMarcus Lawrence is, and if he can institute the same stuff, woo-wee, I'm telling you, that's going to be something special. What else? We got Cedric Wilson making plays in practice. He's trying to push to be at least one of the next 3 on the depth chart after Coop, Gallup, and CD. And speaking of CD, Mike McCarthy today has said that in any offense, Michael Gallup could be a number 1 receiver. And he is pleased as peach that he's got 3 guys at the starting of the depth chart that can all be number 1 receivers in this league. He's excited about having that. We had a report come in that Pat Mahomes has named a couple quarterbacks that he's looked at film and he's studied because he's trying to change a little bit of technique on his throwing motion. And he said one of them was Dak Prescott on how he approached, how he threw the ball. And, you know, that's pretty high praise for a guy that everybody wants to say sucks. When you got Pat Mahomes studying tape of you to learn about different ways to throw the ball. So he's definitely doing something that the fans don't seem to get. As far as replacing McCoy at the 3 tech, we've had the guys on the team from Poe moving over, Justin Hill, Gallimore, Antoine Woods, Tyrone Crawford, Justin Hamilton, and that's just defensive tackles that could all possibly play a role in that 3 tech. Some of them are more 1 tech true because they don't have the size to play that position. So it's going to be a mix match hodgepodge of personnel going to replace him. And depending on the looks of the defense, it's probably not even going to matter if they go to a 3-4. You could have guys like Tyron out there with Poe and Lawrence as your 3-4. So you don't really need 3 tech at that time. But you never know. They're working on position flexibility, where they can have Aldon Smith, Tank Lawrence, and Everson Griffin all kick into the inside on passing downs. So you never know what this defense can throw at you. That's what we've been talking about this whole offseason. That this is a big change from the same old 3-4-3 defensive looks. Never changes, never moves. We always know what you're going to do, and we get burned for it. And thank God we're finally doing something different. And as far as free agents go, they've really only named like Marcel Darius and Damian Snacks Harrison. But they said that Snacks plays the 1 tech more than the 3 tech, and he doesn't have the build to play it. But if any case, they really want to stay in-house right now to fill that position instead of signing any kind of free agent to fill it at this time. So they'll have to see what they have on the roster before they even try to go out and take a look at somebody else. But all in all, they did set themselves up very well to counter this kind of blow. And that's something that the last regime would have never done. Because the way they drafted, they'd have never had another defensive tackle on the roster to take over for a serious injury like this. Because you've seen the past regime, and when something happened like Sean Lee used to go down, they never had a backup plan. You have a safety or a corner go down, they never really had a reliable backup plan. When somebody on the line was down, they never had a suitable backup plan. It's like they always drafted top-end talent to be a starter, but they never had any depth. And that killed us so many times that these guys would just devalue certain positions that when somebody got hurt, they didn't know what to do. They all looked stupid. They didn't know what to do. And it makes everybody look bad because Stephen Jones and Will McClay say looking at free agents is a year-long job. But then when something happens and you need one, you act like y'all didn't look at anybody. You don't have a clue what you're doing. So it's just stupid sometimes. But admittedly, Stephen Jones has said maybe we went about that wrong. They listened to the coaching staff at the time who kind of had more sway than we knew about. And that's why certain positions never got any love. Because they were listening to the coaches all the time, and they were giving them bad information, basically. And it ended up biting us in the butt 9 times out of 10. But now, everything's different. They're trusting in their people to make the right decisions. And now, we have this, where a major injury happens, we are already stacked and ready to keep running. Like nothing happened. So, changes. That's the term of this season. Changes. But that's all I got. That was the last 2 days of practice worth of stuff. We had the comments from Zeke Elliott saying he's hungry. He's seen Tony Pollard, and they look raring to go. He's seen CD Lamb and says that he's got the stuff. And it's just been pretty much good news coming out of training camp, other than the McCoy injury, and everything else has been pretty good. That's what we like to see. That's what we like to hear. We just can't wait for the season to start now. But that's all I got. If anything else comes up, we'll get it to you. Till then, folks, this is VA Dallas Cowboy fan, out.